And finally tonight, it's an important day here that we celebrate in America every year. Did your kids come home from school? Were they excited? The grandkids all said, oh, mommy, daddy, grandma, grandpa. It's Indigenous Peoples Day today. What the hell? Seriously, it's Columbus Day. Christopher Columbus was a great man. Why do we have to do this to ourselves? Well, Jarret Stepman, columnist over at the Daily Signal and author of The War on History, has sort of written the definitive thesis on this attack on Christopher Columbus, and he joins us now. Jarret, happy Columbus Day, sir.
Thank you very much. A very happy Columbus Day to you and to your audience.
Let's defend Christopher Columbus. Why should he be honored today?
I think he should be honored in the way that I think generations of Americans coming down from the founding of this country honor Christopher Columbus. He was a great man, explorer. His voyage across the ocean in 1492, of course, back in the day we used to memorize the poem about 1492. A remarkable feat and achievement that really is, it changed human history. It opened up the gap between the old world and the new world. He was a dead-reckoning sailor, incredibly brave. His journey going out into the unknown, leading a very small team on some very tiny ships, if they can even be called that, really basically barely bigger than what you'd think of as a boat, going out into the ocean and effectively discovering the new world and opening up the exchange that led to the development not only of the eventual United States, but countries throughout the New World. It's a remarkable achievement from a brave and bold man. I think Americans, through our history, have always celebrated boldness, of daring, of risk-taking. And I think that's what Christopher Columbus has represented, and I think that's part of what makes him such a great man in history at such a pivotal moment in history and a transition to the world we know today. We celebrate Columbus because without Columbus, we here, especially in America, would not exist.
Yeah, and that, I think, Jarret, I suspect that's kind of the root of this antagonism, is that it's rooted in this fundamental anti-American sentiment that the world is not better off because America existed, and the original sin was this European explorer coming here and beginning the colonization effort. If that hadn't happened, then America wouldn't exist. Therefore, Columbus must be canceled.
That's absolutely right. I think that the attacks on Columbus Day and Christopher Columbus are really a larger attack on Western civilization, even the idea of Western civilization. I think that's why, from those who are proponents of Indigenous Peoples Day, are very intolerant of the idea that, well, can we celebrate both these things? Is both that good? They will almost universally say no, because the point is to undo Western influence in the United States throughout the world. It's to undo the very idea of Columbus. There's a reason why, especially in the riots that took place in 2020, Christopher Columbus statues were among the most targeted, even perplexingly to many. But there is a good reason behind it. It is because he's a stand-in for Western civilization. There's a reason why, for instance, the radical left-wing historian Howard Zinn went after Christopher Columbus in his book. It's not just because he didn't like him personally. It's because Columbus stood for something much larger. And I think that through our history, we've recognized that and celebrated that as a positive thing, that he was a representative of America's settled nature. We were a settler nation. He was a representative of Western values come to the New World. I think at one time that was seen as a good thing. That is a good thing for human history. Now it's contested. And I think that's why there's such a big battle now over Christopher Columbus, where there wasn't even 20, 30 years ago.
Your book, The War on History, sort of lays out a lot of these things. It's sort of the antidote to Howard Zinn. I'm glad you raised the specter of that guy in his book. In our final minute here, I know it's politically incorrect, but can I just say it? At the time of the colonization of North America and other parts of the world by Western Europeans with Western ideals and the Christianity, at the time, was colonization a good thing? I know we're not supposed to say that, but was it actually a good thing in the long run?
I think very much so. It's just interesting that this idea that we're going to replace this with Indigenous Peoples Day, because people say, well, there was colonialism, there was violence, there was genocide. if that's the standard, then how on earth can we celebrate Indigenous peoples? I mean,
Right.
it doesn't make any logical sense. I mean, if that really is why he's being condemned to the ashes.
Yeah.
So I think there's that larger attack on this, and I think that the good things that we are today that exist here in the Americas, yes, we no longer are living in the 1490s, a very different time with very different standards, but the good things that have been brought down to us are because of great men like Christopher Columbus, and I think that's worthwhile celebrating today as it is 50 years from now, 100 years from now.
Jarret Stepman, Daily Signal, and author of The War on History. Happy Columbus Day, my friend, and happy Columbus Day to all of you. That's it. We'll see you back here, same place, same time tomorrow. In the meantime, I'll see you on the radio.